Magandang araw sa ating lahat. First of all, allow me to convey our collective grief and sympathies to Bessie, Didi, and the rest of the family over the demise of our beloved Nelia Gonzalez. 3 years back, on the occasion of Mrs. Gonzalez's 94th birthday, I thought it was timely that I write about her in my Sunday column in the Manila Bulletin. Although I have known Mrs. Gonzalez for so many years, but I thought it would be proper that I do some research. And I did. I talked to a lot of people and looked at the records. And lo and behold, I didn't realize Mrs. Gonzalez was much more than what I have known about her. And to make it short, I think there's one adjective that would describe her and her many careers in a lifetime, because she had so many careers in a lifetime, more than most other people. Mrs. Gonzalez, to me, is the best adjective is being a many-splendored personality, because that captures all the gamut of commitments, concerns, and activities that she had in her 97 years of life on Earth. So let me go through those things that I found out about Mrs. Gonzalez. First, most of her activities had been associated with her chosen profession. She was originally a plant pathologist here at the College of Agriculture, but then later on she became more involved in agribusiness. And this is where she made her mark. Among all the agriculturist professionals I know, I think Mrs. Gonzalez is second to none in terms of achievements. For example, one of the really successful sectors of agriculture now is poultry, both layers and broilers. I didn't realize that it was Mrs. Gonzalez who first introduced the white leghorn breed of layers in the country, which is a very productive layer breed. And so the whole egg industry in the country is based on white leghorn and their derivative breeds. And she was the first one who introduced the white leghorn breed in the country. Also, the broiler industry is an example of how we can be world-class and competitive by way of the contract growing scheme. And lo and behold, it was Mrs. Gonzalez who introduced that. So the first integrator company was Republic Flour Mills, which she was managing at that time. And so together with one of her favorites, prodigies and students, Dr. Mario Labadan, and a vet, Dr. Novilla, they put together the first business model of broiler contract growing in the country. So the whole broiler industry in the country is based on that business model, which Mrs. Gonzalez introduced. Her career in livestock started when the late industrialist Salvador Araneta hired her to manage his business empire with the flour mills and then the feeds and the livestock and so on. And so I didn't know until I interviewed some people that in fact in the flour business, Mrs. Gonzalez was one of the pioneers. And you import the whole wheat grain, and then you mill, and then you have bran and pollard as byproducts. And these are the major ingredients in animal feeds. So the bran and pollard industry from wheat was started by Mrs. Gonzalez. Likewise, we eat a lot of soybean, also for oil, and then oil meal, soybean meal as animal feed. So Mrs. Gonzalez pioneered in importing the soybean meals and put up a processing plant to extract the oil and then produce the soybean oil meal as animal feed. So again, she was ahead of her time. Now, additionally, you need biologicals, vitamins, supplements, and all kinds of things to add to the animal feed. And she was the first one who put up the laboratory for producing these supplements, vitamins, and so forth and so on as additives to animal feed. For many years, the leading periodical on livestock raising was the Better Livestock and Poultry magazine. And I didn't realize she was the business manager of that, and she established that herself. So, you know, even in publishing, she was there. Of course, she also had a tuna fishing business in Sarangani, tourism, and then real estate. Meron siyang mga pinagawang condominium in Manila. But very importantly, again, one of the real success stories in our agriculture is hybrid maize, because the yields of hybrid maize are very high. So we are almost self-sufficient. I think we are self-sufficient in yellow maize for animal feed. And this is based on the hybrid. But very early on, Mrs. Gonzalez realized this. So she went into a joint venture with a Pioneer Seed Company from Iowa and put up the first joint venture hybrid maize and sorghum company in the Philippines, in Cotabato and Oriental Mindoro. So she was way ahead. And so, as I recount all these achievements in agribusiness, palagi ko, no, she's second to none in all those pioneering activities and innovations she has introduced. The second aspect of Mrs. Gonzalez, which we find remarkable, is her very deep social commitment to socio-cultural organizations and philanthropy. I took note, and I counted at that time that she was heavily involved in at least 18 socio-cultural philanthropic organizations. Most of us will be a member of one or two, but she was president, chairman, vice president, treasurer, secretary, business manager of at least 18. Among them the Philippine Tuberculosis Society, the ERDA Vocational School, the Carmelites, the Sonta International, even Phi Kappa Pi Honor Society in UP, and then of course the Pahinungod volunteer program of UP. Also, she's treasurer of Philconsa. She's a treasurer of the Manila Overseas Press Club. So there are 18 of them where she had major roles, and particularly as indefatigable fundraisers. So I don't know of any other Filipino who would have so wide range of social and voluntary commitments as Mrs. Gonzalez. Mrs. Gonzalez had 6 children, and I don't know how many grandchildren and great-grandchildren. But I think Bessie and Didi will admit that at times they are jealous of a seventh child of Mrs. Gonzalez. In addition to the 6 children, Mrs. Gonzalez was heavily committed and heavily involved in activities of the University of the Philippines. So much so that I recall in one of my dialogues with Didi, parang yung UP is the 7th child of his mangmang. So Mrs. Gonzalez was very heavily committed to UP, both in the whole system as well as in the College of Agriculture and UPLB. So what are her achievements as far as UP is concerned? She was, I guess, one of the longest-serving regents in recent memory, because she was repeatedly reappointed as regent of university during the terms of President Fidel Ramos and Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. So she served very long as UP president. And when the UP Alumni Association was building the Bahay ng Alumni, we were having financial troubles, and I was president at that time. So one of those things I inherited from President Abueva was the construction of the Bahay ng Alumni. And the alumni were having really the serious financial problems. So we approached Mrs. Gonzalez and she took over. And so in no time she was able to generate from grateful alumni and of course from politicians and business as well, the 85 million pesos to put up the Bahay ng Alumni. So alam lahat ng alumni yan na kung wala si Miss Gonzalez, baka hanggang ngayon naghihintay pa kami dun sa Bahay ng Alumni. But even earlier, she put up the UP Los Baños Alumni Center. We have that building near the infirmary. That was generated by Mrs. Gonzalez. But of course, we are very proud in Los Baños that we have the Centennial Tower. That was a major project of Mrs. Gonzalez together with Chancellor Villarreal. But of course, we always point out that our Carillon Tower in Los Baños is taller than the Carillon Tower in Diliman. And we have more bells and heavier bells. And that tower, Carillon Tower in Los Baños, would not have been possible without the effort of Mrs. Gonzalez. So much so that in the annual celebrations of the college and UPLB, we have this Nelia Gonzalez Awards in research and extension and teaching named after her. So those are the many splendid activities that Mrs. Gonzalez had been involved in. You wonder that how many lifetime or how many careers she has owned in her 97 years. And that, I don't know any person who has been able to do all of that. So now that she's gone, the many people whose lives she has touched, and together with the children and grandchildren, we will sorely miss Mrs. Gonzalez. But the last aspect of Mrs. Gonzalez I want to point out is her humanity. So I'm speaking for the many numerous mga inaanak ni Mrs. Gonzales, because Mrs. Gonzales answers by many names. For her contemporaries, she is Nelia. For our mga kababayan sa Santa Cruz, Laguna, she is known as NT. Among the children and grandchildren, I hear them calling her Mang or Mang Mang. And of course, for so many people, she is Ninang. Because she has touched the lives of so many people because of her caring attitude, motherly attitude, providing moral and spiritual guidance, career choices, even marriage choices, I understand, and now and then even financial support to so many to so many people. So and we know that for a fact. And so Alma and I, although we are not authentic inaanak ni Mrs. Gonzales, we have adopted her as our own ninang. Ninang. So I guess I'm rambling now, but I'm sure I reflect the views of so many people whose lives he has touched, that we have lost a very beloved individual, and we will surely miss her sorely. And to the children, we express our condolences, and in the end really celebrate the fortune of being associated with her in so many ways. Thank you, and good afternoon.